you know, they were listening to the pre-show. They said dark horses, underdogs. Put some respect on our name.
That was wild.
And players like INZEM, he feeds off of this. Okay,
yeah.
I don't know if we want to call it wild. You know, granted, you know, as a dark horse squad, if we had one in this tournament, I think it would have been Oxygen. Oxygen would have been the dark horse team for me.
I agree.
But Hive, they're champions, and they're your defending champions of the playoffs. Yeah, they had their woes over these last few renditions of the team, of them playing with Hefe for a little bit, them getting used to Demise. But Demise is the perfect fit for the squad. They just needed time to get together and get on the same page. And now may be that time. Here we go. It's Hive versus Rise to see who goes to the winners finals to play against Vanquish.
Off the start, DeToX uncontested for M-Bar Blaze, where Hive prioritized getting on the hill, setting up defensively. They didn't care about the M-Bar off the rip. Fair enough. It's not the most impactful weapon at the start, but still something you need to get out of DeTox's hands.
Yeah, okay.
And also Avexys. Remember Avexys hitting 3-4-3 in that final clip we had a chance to watch when they were playing against E United on Regency control just earlier in round 2. But here comes the break, and this is something Rise was doing exceedingly well on training grounds as well as Regency. Even though they wouldn't have control early on for the hills, if they had control, their defensive work was incredible. But if they didn't have control, breaking through E United's setup, they were flawless because their teamwork was phenomenal and they were fighting for each other. And that's something Hive is now going to have to battle against, as of course they looked across the field and their foe is going to be Rise. And it seems as if Rise is picking up where they left off against EU, easily breaking the hill and taking control. We are now rotating to second.
Man, what a fantastic hold there from Rise to be able to get in there. I think Avexys played that really, really well to get them as much time as they could off of P1. So now we're going to head on over towards P2 at Info, where Hive, they have these back spawns, but you see the man coming in. DeToX and Avexys winning some big fights here. It's going to be a 3v3 currently, but kind of a 3v2 for Rise on this side of the map, with them being able to pick up these kills. Look at the crossfire with DeToX from the back. Two players got Lancers coming in towards the right, and Rise's setup here, it looked damn good. Pretty much flawless so far.
Yeah, absolutely flawless. Regency, a map that we haven't watched Hive play against Rise as of yet. Maybe in E days, I have to take a look, but at least for Pro League, we didn't see it. Like I mentioned before, it was District, and it was District and Reactor. So this is kind of nice to see how this is going to work out. Rushiez is really going back for spawn control. He's going to be on the backside of player 8 of Avexys. So Avexys and Rushiez are going to be trying to lock in spawn. Actually, Avexys backs off, so now Rushiez is going to be by himself. Does he take some pop shots? He does. That's a lot of ground to cover. So now I do see why he's wanting to kind of clear that ground. Look at how much opportunity he has to just Lancer out. He's not successful in the elims, but it stops Hive and slows them down enough for Rise to get at least 10 to 15 more points.
And his respawn is so crucial here as it comes in. Rushiez is going to have to make a big play. Does he come with his teammates here, or does he leave him? And he's going to leave. He's smart for that one. And also these Rise members are going to try to get out. DeToX not able to get away. But when it comes down to scrap time, even though Hive just contested that fight, they won it. They knew that they could even stay. It was pointless. It was like, you know what? Yeah, we got the kills, but if we stay for the scrap, we won't be able to get set up for next. Now, Rushiez had already rotated down low. He needed to continue to rotate a little bit closer towards the spawn. You know, he's going to give this height advantage up to Hive, but he could have contested it towards the back end of the stairs. But with him having his shot grenade, he's actually where he want to be. They don't know where he is. He's going to shock the cover, force these players out into the open. But where's his crossfire? He's hitting his shots, but where's his help? Where's the team? Does he even need helps? Oh, he wants to go for it. Now he waits for help. Good job to Rushiez for being annoying, to keeping the hill contested, winning some fights, but not getting too overzealous, taking fights that he did not need to. But he comes in for the revive. If Avexys is up, he's going to have to back out, but he can't get out. He's just in a difficult spot there in that cubby corner, and Rushiez is going to fall as well. So you're going to start to see Hive rotating his hill and start getting some much needed points if they can kill Icy.
Yeah, they can. Icy falls. Brother, you remember when we started casting Rise in EU, and you said there was one specific member that needed to step up, and if he stepped up, Rise would be all right. You mentioned Rushiez, right? Rushiez is that guy. And for the control, and the way that he played that hill, granted, Hive does get the break. They start closing the gap, but the way that he played that, if he can do that a couple more times, Hive is going to have a very difficult time. And there's Rushiez off the rip, taking down INZEM. He's back in the hill, and Rise is looking for control once again and again. The penetration power from Rise is phenomenal and, in my opinion, unmatched. Maybe by that of, I don't know, maybe VQ can contest it, but even their control, I don't know, Rise might be better, but love what I'm seeing from them. I see the last one standing after he takes down Solurs. Rise gets to scrap time, and Avexys gets the fresh bar.
Yeah, and so now Rise is going to have the weapons that they need, and now they're going to have to set up here towards statue, but to even go back and, you know, kind of give Rushiez a little bit more praise, and I said that because for me, Rushiez is probably one of our top 10 slayers that we've had in our league over the last 3-4 years in the positions in which he's been in. He comes up clutch for his team, but he's also one of the sneakiest players that we have as well. So when he can run around a map and do whatever the hell he wants and have fun, and his teammates play around him, I think that's what makes Rise really successful here when it comes down towards control. Rushiez just needs to, you know, be let off the leash and, you know, run the map, and he's going to make his opponents have to make difficult plays as he's going to be getting behind enemy lines and putting himself into some difficult fights to just kind of slow down whatever assault the opponent can come up with against Rise. Now, as we see this setup that Rise has, Taylor, and Avexys in the back with the long range M-bar, they're set up perfectly. Rushiez and DeToX has a fantastic cross. Icy's leading the troops here towards the front lines.
My goodness.
In the back lines, the shots are going to connect. He wants the elbow.
You know, Blaze, how does Solurs even play that? Because he's stuck behind. He knows the M-bar is breathing down his neck. He's got Rushiez from the corner. I guess you just got to go for it at some point.
Nah, he played the best as he could, and you just got to ask yourself, do you want to die getting crossed out or you want to die fighting? And every player has to make that decision. Not every player makes the right decision from retreating and dying fighting, but that's one of the hardest things to know in Gears. But if you can master that, you're going to give your team so much more consistency in any game mode that you play, just knowing when to stay alive and even when to have to fight your fight. As Avexys, he's trapped between multiple people, knowing that he has to fight his way out of that difficult spot. And now Rise with a little height advantage. They're not getting no points, but they have the lead. They have the patience to wait for the squad. And with this initiation, they have a quick 4v2. TJ, can he hold off? He cannot. INZEM goes down as well, and Hive is staggered.
Yep. Absolutely flawless. Solurs has the shock, but you look at the mini-map, Blaze, Hive is spread out after the respawn, so this isn't going to be good for them. Rise is going to be well above 200, whereas Hive hasn't even broke 100 yet. Rushiez, good job challenging Demise. I thought Demise was going to get a free pick on the M-bar, but Demise picks up the elimination. It wasn't free, but he handled his own, and that's going to be the first time Hive touches the M-bar. Meanwhile, round 2 for Hive to get the break, or at least try and get the break, is in. Demise has to cross with the M-bar, but might not need it. We'll see. As yeah, you're definitely gonna need it now. INZEM is gone, and that M-bar really doesn't mean that much. Player 2 is gonna back off, and Hive is forced to play for next, unfortunately. This is not a good game, or at least a good start to this series. I think they're gonna be okay. I have a lot to say about the maps that are gonna be coming up, but you know, this is to be expected. I said Rise was such a good control team in terms of Hive that it's pretty much unmatched, and we're kind of seeing an example of that with the scoreline being 219-62.
Some good nades there by Avexys, but it's also still a 3v3 fight. Rushiez able to find another kill. 2v2. Icy comes in, cleans up one. Now a 1v1 against INZEM, and he backs up. 2 good shots, but he's just going to keep backpedaling and forcing INZEM back into his teammates' crosshairs. And in this moment, Rise trying to get in and contest. Hive needs to clear out this back spine. They have to push it through and win these battles, but Icy just being a nuisance, slowly backing up, keep putting out damage, but it's not going to be enough damage here currently, as Hive will be getting points, but they're not committing to that push to really continue to push Rise back out here towards the spine. Granted, it's a lot of open area in which they have to cover, and they're probably in their best positions now, but with them getting these 2 kills, this is where a Hive has to push out.
Yeah, well done from INZEM, holding his ground. He's been in the spot for some time since they were pushing back Icy. Icy has help, but INZEM basically eliminates and annihilates that help as soon as they come up. He's forced to dip out.
He can't let that revive come through.
But I mean, at this point, he's with his team, but you're right, the revive maybe, I don't know, slips through. It seems as if they're going to be punished for it too. Rise is a full force.
I just felt like INZEM, with the type of movement that he has, and as soon as that down comes in, he can dodge 2 shots to be able to wrap around that corner and get to that spawn, and then he would have ended up forcing those remaining Rise members back, but he allowed Avexys to get a revive, and at that point, it was about 40 points left on that hill and counting down. So you know, good plays there from Rise to get the rest of that scrap time, but now they're gonna have to start to rotate as TJ trying to slow Rise down, as we're gonna be resetting our heals, going back to P1, down low with the Rose Garden, where Hive is gonna be set up once again.
Hive is set up, but for how long? Rise wants to get the break if they possibly can. It's nice to see Hive 2 times in a row. It started with Demise. Now TJ has the M-bar, which could pay dividends depending. This is going to be a tough spot for TJ and co, but they're holding their ground. Solurs picks up Avexys. Rise all pushing from the front portion, but now you got to get over. You got to help your team. They're going to have the angle, but is it going to be enough? Well, we'll definitely find out. DeToX, I guess, checking every, or PMCI, makes sure everything is good. I don't know what that was, but for TJ, he's got this cross. He's got this cross, baby. I think he can hit some shots. DeToX might be the first victim. When
you see players L trigger like that, they're giving ammo to their teammates. So he was giving them some little bit of electric Lancer ammo to help out in the fight, because DeToX say, I don't need this. I got my shotty out. As Rise is in the hill looking to fight. Icy gets playing. Beautiful kill from TJ, but DeToX finds a double. Like I told you, he didn't need the Lancer ammo, and he's going to have some support here coming in from screen right, and that is going to be some help from Avexys. So DeToX, he knew what was happening a minute ago, and he got his whole squad set up to win that battle. And now Rise is going to be thinking about going towards P2 next, which is up top at Info, and Hive is going to currently be set up.
And this hill is where they pretty much dominated. Remember, Rushiez was off in that corner, off in that cut by himself, lancering out. He had help, I believe, by player 8 of Avexys for a little bit before he rotated in. But now we're going to get to see the shoe on the other foot. Rise is going to be the one who has to break the defensive setup of Hive, which this did not happen on the second or on the first rotation. So let's find out how well they're going to be able to counter the setup. They look as if they're going to prioritize Solar and co off in the distance, and obviously you have to, right? You got to try and take spawn control if you can. Solars is down. Good team revives and good wall packing from Rise. That's 2 out of the way. Maybe Solars pulling up big, and Solars will take down 2 members and let Rushiez and Icy bleed out.
Beautiful hold here from Hive. That's what they needed. If they get these 50 points, they'll be past that 200-point marker, and then we're gonna have to make our next rotation down towards gold. But as you're gonna see, DeToX with an M-bar in hand, he doesn't have to use most of these shots at all. He can honestly save them for next, but here comes Rise, a 4-man unit. Nobody's slowing down, not giving up too much intel to their opponent that they can work with, that they can adjust to. They're just gonna rush straight through the center as they're trying to make it towards the back, but Hive's Lancers are proving to be too much, and DeToX has the presence of mind to disengage and says, I'm not losing an M-bar. We tried it, we contested for a bit, but it's most important for them to get set up for next.
Uh-oh, so it seems as if the mighty might have fallen a little bit. Hive getting very close to catching up. Rise so close to victory, but Blaze, me and you have casted several series, several controls, even on Regency, where a team so close to victory is so far away because the other team doesn't give up. And the question is, does Rise have the stamina to close this out? They are going to be on new, so the questions will be answered very shortly. If Hive does not break this hill convincingly, Rise is going to be dangerously close to 300, so Hive has no time to waste. Demise already falling to be cleaned up. That is obviously a huge negative. Solurs as well. You see TJ fall. INZEM's in the hill, but for how long? Not very long at all. I think we're about to wrap this up.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. You know, Rise did, throughout the majority of this map, they did a fantastic job here as far as being able to just kind of get a step ahead of their opponent, get that early lead, and by them having that early lead, it gave them some peace of mind. They were able to not take too many, not have to force fights, not have to play into Hive's hand. Throughout the entirety of this map, it's been Hive playing catch up, and Rise have just been keeping them at an arm's length away.
My goodness, too. On Side Station, by the way, guys, twitch.tv/UMG Bravo, E United faces off against Fire and Ice. Sad to say one of them is going home, but off the rip, Fire and Ice 300 to 95 on Regency. Fire and Ice takes map 1.
The fact that that's a Bravo match just shows you guys how crazy this tournament is, and that's a losers bracket matchup. So as Taylor said, one of those 2 teams will be going home here. Currently on this map, Rise 6 points away from winning it. 6 M-bar shots for Avexys. And once again, Rise is just so much better when it comes down towards the weapon respawn time. No matter who they're playing on this map, I don't think anyone gets a chance to touch 2 M-bars.
I think, yeah, that's true, actually.
They may get 1, but like them getting 2 off the respawn is really slim.
Oof, that should be it. Maybe TJ, you just got to go for. Oh, he was trying to contest as long as he could. The final 3 points will tick in 300 to 238. You know, well fought though, I think, from both rosters. But as you said earlier, Rise for the most part, the majority of this map, Blaze, just they were uncontested. They looked incredible. They had that massive lead. Towards the end, though, you can see the resiliency from Hive closing that gap slowly but surely, but at the end, it just simply wasn't enough. Well done from Rise. Again, their control looking on point. We do potentially have another control, which will be District, but again, Hive lost that. So it is imperative with the next two maps, Tomb and Harbor, that Hive at least gets one of those. They need at least one, or else this series, they could be in trouble, Blaze. Honestly, they need two. Let me counteract. They need to.
And honestly, it's crazy because I think when the pick and bans came down for this, I think Hive said, you know what, we got to get Clock Tower out. We don't want Rise to be playing on this Clock Tower map.
They look good.
And on the flip end, Rise said, let's get rid of Checkout. Okay, we don't want you guys to have to play in those close quarter battles. But it was smart because Hive has not played Tomb or Canals at all throughout the entire Pro League. So both those maps are in this cycle. They're going to be playing it for the first time in a competitive environment as a team. And hopefully everything has went well in scrims for them and they can come out here and have a dominant performance. But as we go here, as we kind of just look, recap map number one and put a bow on it, Rise they were the better squad. They were a step ahead. They out-rotated them. And Hive could never catch up to their intensity and even catch up in a score to be able to flip the momentum.
You know what's scary about Rise that I think gives them a huge competitive edge on the competition for MSP if they continue to play the way they're playing is there are some teams that, like VQ, for example, who I put as the front runner to be in grand finals. I thought they were going to be in grand finals versus FNI, but who knows? Rise could very well make it there, and we could have a Rise VQ. Still too early to say. Tomorrow's a different day and a different mentality, a different mindset. But because Rise is so good at control, like let's say they did play against VQ, obviously the next matchup that would take place at least tomorrow. The scary thing about that is VQ is not necessarily a good control team. They've definitely had their dominant maps, but they're not a dominant control team, but Rise is. So Rise very well could make a huge upset and beat VQ. That's a possibility, but I guess let me bring back the conversation to Tomb Execution. You said Hive hasn't played that at least competitively, right, on broadcast, but neither has Rise. So this is new territory. Both Rise and Hive are about to play Tomb for the very first time, at least on broadcast in a competitive setting for whether it be Pro League or MSP.
Yeah, and that's going to be really fun to watch. I'm excited to see how they're going to break out, what their focus is going to be, because we know when it comes down to those two players who play the mid-map, the way that they engage in their fights and they flip-flop and they crossfire opens up, creates a lot of openings for teams to be able to make plays. And the player that's going to be playing closest towards the torque bow, we know that he can hop over, get into that mix at any given time and be able to assist that player on that side of the map. So Tomb, a lot of those engagements towards the bottom half is the ones that kind of set the pace for the rest of the round. Those were usually where we see the most kills come through at. So we'll see what who's going to be the playmakers of both these squads as we head on over towards Tomb. But yeah, both these teams' best execution maps are banned. They're out the cycle, and they're going to have to show up with something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Rise takes map 2, it's going to be kind of the same narrative from E United now over towards obviously Rise versus Hive. I think they take the series 3-1. Because I don't see Hive winning District. There's a possibility, but I really don't. And we'll just have to find out. Harbor, though, is a different story. Rise is a good Harbor team, but last time they played against Hive in Harbor, Hive beat them 5-0 Blaze. So. You take that for what it's worth, but again, that's why I say 3-1 that Rise wins this series. But again, it's a different day, and Rise seems to be a new team.
Yeah, this honestly, I still feel like this series could be our first Maps 5 series of the day. It just comes down to if Hive can take this execution. If they take this execution, they're in a fantastic spot going into Harbor, which is one of their better maps out of the the 10 that we play here competitively. Actually, it's not 10, it's the 11 that we play competitively. So and we'll see what they can do here, because Tomb, we know we're going to see a lot of big torque bow plays. We're going to see some snipe plays here and there, but as all our execution maps, when it comes, I will say that Tomb is the map where you have a better chance at resetting the fight after a first blood comes through. because Canals, Checkout, and Clock Tower, I feel like are very fast paced when that first blood comes in. You see some quick rounds here because the damage is out and these squads do not want to let anyone get set up there. So you see some fast plays there, but Tomb could be a little bit more on the slower side.
You mentioned that 2v, well, maybe a 2v2, but at least the mid battle, right? That's imperative. That's been kind of more violent, I think, as of recently. You also have naturally the 2v2, which is going to be for the Torque Bow. You have some dominant players on both rosters. For me, I'm looking at DeToX. I think DeToX is going to be incredible, especially with how he's been playing. Obviously, Icy too. But on the side of Hive, who are we thinking? Maybe TJ, INZEM? No, Solurs. TJ, come on, Solurs is incredible. I think Solurs has like a ridiculous KDA when it comes to execution. Let me take a check. 3.60 KDA. Like, he's through the roof. So he's going to be a high impact player as well.
Yeah, no, he truly is, man. And they're going to need him to be one because he's going to have a big matchup. I feel like, when it comes down towards the round-based game modes, I'm going to be looking at him to really outperform Icy in some of those modes. And he's going to have to here. When it comes down towards this Hive roster here, in Escalation, it's INZEM and Solurs. Okay, these are the guys who are going to be making the smart plays. Solurs winning some big 1v1s in his positions, INZEM leading the charge. And so on Harbor, we're going to be both of those guys, which was, I would say, their best map when they won MSP. Like Harbor, nobody can touch him on because Solurs is playing so phenomenal in his 1v1 spot, where he was just able to open up and create plays for the members of Hive up top, relieve pressure there from that front three. So we're going to be looking for him to make some big plays in those 1v1s, but not even just there. When it comes down to round-based game modes too as well, Solurs has the highest KD for Hive, okay? So,
he does.
When it comes down towards execution, this is where he made a name for himself. He was the most feared player at a certain point in Gears Esports during UE, where it was just like, yo, you don't want to play against this guy on the map because no matter if you give him a sniper, a torque bow, and then him having mental explosive, and I think it was maybe summons at that time behind him, you just couldn't mess with that squad. Okay, so Solurs is that guy, and when it comes down to round-based game modes, the matchup between him and Icy is one that we're gonna have to pay close attention to.
All right, so Solurs versus Icy, fair enough. Honestly, I gotta take Solurs. I really do, with how well he plays execution. I think if they want to really beat Hive, maybe you take an additional player to isolate Solurs and take him down, and then after that, kind of dismantle and pick apart. In my opinion, one thing that's Tomb is different because it's kind of you got big 2v2 battles that take place, but for the most part, it's kind of like every man for himself in a way until maybe a player falls and you can, kind of coincide and work together and congeal together. So in a way, I think that kind of benefits Hive, because if you look at Rise across the board, all their stats are very even for control. They're all like 2.5, in between 2.56 and 2.68. That's literally how close they are in KDA. But on Tomb, Hive has the advantage of not allowing Rise to set up and play as a team per se. So I think that could benefit them greatly and might work out. Case in point, great start already. We're going to lose a couple players on both ends. Icy forced to pick up Rushiez, but the teamwork from TJ and co is going to make their life hard. Plus, Solurs picks up the long shot. Icy by himself, and Hive with an explosive, impressive start.
Yeah, that's what Hive needed. They wasted no time setting the tempo of that round, picking up that first blood there towards center line and being able to just kind of slow down and pull out the Lancers. So nice quick round here for Hive. And you're gonna have Solurs at the top of the kill feed. As when it comes down to him, he is leading in control stats and execution stats, and he's only behind INZEM and Escalation when it comes down to stats for this Hive roster. And he's going to have a great performance here in these next few maps if Hive wants to pull away with this series. But so far, so good. Round number one, and Icy with his flash in hand, looking to make a move here on Demise. Neither player gets stunned, and they're going to have to look to make a play elsewhere. As we're talking about it, DeToX takes out Solurs at the snipe. He'll be able to pick this up and get some nice shots here. Looking for some free ones, but just him having his weapon in his hand is making the members here of Hive just very, very nervous, and you see why.
Yeah, I see why now. 2 plays. That was a nice shot. Cherry on top for Rise. Rushiez picks up the torque, so you got the long shot and the torque. Plus, you also have 4 members ready to angle and take you down. Demise, next victim. INZEM left up to his own devices. He's doing 360s. He knows it's over with, and that is it. It's done and dusted. We're tied up 1-1, and Demise, the hero, taking down Solurs. Very well done.
All right, so here we go. Good job there from Rise, and big round, most importantly, from DeToX being able to get first blood. We usually don't see too many first bloods come over from the snipe side of that 1v1. Usually some players that keep that one more stalemated because you have to deal with the shock grenade there as well. But when it comes down to it, DeToX isn't even picking up the shock. Solurs is on his side, and he's being a little bit more passive when it comes down to it, just to kind of slow DeToX down. But now it's going to be Rise with a shock grenade. Well-timed flash from DeToX. Didn't get the hit marker, but I love how he uses that to move up, get an angle here towards mid-map, and then he, checks up with Solurs again. And sometimes you got to always check up in your 1v1 just to let that player know that you're looking at him. And with that pressure, just that little bit of pressure he was able to apply mid-map, you see Rise able to make plays off of that.
Rise had mid control, and that pays dividends because now they are free to kind of rotate at least around that. By the way, DeToX just handled his business versus Solurs. Like, that was just a straight up 1v1, and DeToX was not having it. None of the silly business from Solurs. Rise did a great job getting mid control as they did, even though the torque bow momentarily goes over towards Hive because they finish up Demise. Then they're able to team fire the player down who picks up the torque bow from Hive out, and then obviously it's brought down to a 4v2 and then a 4v1 right after. So very well done from Rise. They seem like they're getting their legs underneath them. Round 1, a bit iffy. Hive was just very aggressive, but Hive hasn't been aggressive since that first round.
Yeah, they haven't been. But, as we head here into round number 4, we'll see if they can still kind of find that play. DeToX is just finding ways to get an advantage here on Solurs. And by him taking his underpass, he just opens the door up for his team to have just a few more plays than they will without him being there. But nice flash here. Demise becomes the focus. Icy hops over to try to get a great shot. Doesn't work out for him. And now Demise, by him staying alive here, we're just going to kind of reset the fight here. But he's going to have to make a play soon on somebody.
Oof.
As you see,
it's not going to be easy though now with being a 4v3 Blaze. I mean, he's just going forward, but... And at that, let me ask you with your expertise, though. I mean, Demise, what does he really do there? It's a 4v3. He's got to make a move. Does he? I mean, would it have been better to back up and maybe join Solurs? Do you think he had to commit going forward?
Nah, he couldn't leave that spot. He was being focused by a lot of people. He did a great job staying alive, but, in him being focused, you saw torque bows getting picked up, and some of his teammates got back down. But, at the end of the day, they're down a man already, and he has to find an opening and force a 1v1. It just comes down to him assessing one in which he's comfortable in. Now, Rise, they're looking comfortable after these last 3 rounds. Hive, they're gonna have to make a play at this bow.
So you think the play at the bow is
because they're not making it at snipe. DeToX is gonna keep running Solurs at snipe. Yeah.
Yeah, well, DeToX is timing his flashes very well. Like Solurs, before he can even get over cover, DeToX is already throwing out his flash and then dipping into the cover. DeToX has that, like, the timing is like, if we pay attention to watch him, he's going to go forward. Solurs is there. So Solurs doesn't even try to attempt. He throws out the shock, but normally at the beginning of the rounds, Solurs was going head to head with DeToX, but because DeToX has kind of won that fight, that engagement early on and gets inside the cover so quickly, Solurs, I don't think, knows how to deal with DeToX at this point.
Solurs is throwing his flash too soon. Now, my fault, he's throwing that shock way too soon in a fight, but he probably feels that if he doesn't, DeToX can quick pick that, which it shouldn't happen, especially looking at the spawns. Now, maybe it's because DeToX has a front spawn and Solurs knows that if he doesn't throw that shock, he can't get there in time to stop him, but he has to be able to go toe-to-toe and save that shock grenade a little bit longer. As you see, Rushiez and Avexys picking up 2 kills mid-map. 3v2 scenario here for Rise. They're trying to hunt down Solurs towards his back corner, and he's made quick work of, but nice bow from TJ, and he's in a 1v2 that is definitely doable.
Oh, 100%. 1v2. You mentioned how Tomb sometimes, different from all the other execution maps that we have, it allows for resets. And this is one of those moments where a reset is here. Overtime Hill is not in play just yet. And there's enough separation between players 1 and 4 that TJ might be able to focus a 1v2 if he plays his cards right. Obviously, the torque bow, though, is going to be his main priority. Just catching the edge. I'm sitting pretty for the moment.
Ooh, I was gonna say this next bow is crucial. Even if he puts this on a corner enough for him to rotate, that's it. That's great. But that shock grenade is huge. Now the question is that where's the neutral? Oh, it's center. He may have trapped him from escaping, not fully.
Got one more.
Got some splash damage and some intel there, but yeah, TJ is using all his equipment a little bit too fast.
That's it.
Oh,
great connection. Can he get DTOX? Oh, he can't. Oh, he wanted it, Blaze. You could see him setting up for it, brother. I saw it coming. I really did. I knew he was going to connect on that first torque, but DeToX had that just enough spacing and was getting the cap plus the chunk. Well played from DeToX, but I mean, TJ just about had that. That first connection was great. First connection, I think many people pull out their Nasher in that moment, but hopping over that cover did him in, but he had no choice. He had to go for it.
Yeah, I think he just kind of executed his play a little bit too fast, but it's hard to assess it in that scenario. If he was able to just hold that shock a little bit longer, he would have been in a great spot. But you see some aggressive plays made by Rise towards the middle. Avexys going to pay for that. Advantage Hive. 2-man advantage. 1-man advantage actually for Hive, as Torque Bowl is going to be in the hand of Rushiez. Winning his fight against TJ in that 1v1. With 3 bowls left, he's going to have to make a play here soon.
It's kind of interesting that Avexys and DeToX choose to be... Well, DeToX was being just as aggressive as he's always been. Solurs flashes out, though, instead of shocking out like he normally had. And it's interesting that Avexys chose to take such an aggressive route. They hadn't done that yet, but I do appreciate them showing different looks, but ultimately it just wasn't maybe the best play. Hive kind of saw right through it. I'm curious to see how this plays out with being a 2v3 long shot versus sniper. Icy also has the shock though, and for that shock, I mean, you could force INZEM out of cover, and that's probably going to be the play. Take him down, bring it down to a 2v2.
Well, both squads got shocked, so and you're gonna see the first shock being tossed by Rise. Force the torque bow. INZEM's in a corner. Counter shock for him. Still 2 torque bows in the hands of Rushiez. Beautiful bow on the floor. He connects with the kill. And Rise looking to win this, being down a man. 30 seconds on the clock, but they have to deal with Solurs and a sniper in hand, and he loves being in these positions.
All right, 1v2. Torque Bow out of bows at this point. Overtime Hill is going to be up top, you'd have to assume. Solurs just trying to find any angle he possibly can. 5 more shots, but the longer he stays out in cover, obviously more of a risk he takes from getting Lancer down. I know you're chomping at the bit, brother, to hit these shots.
When, you know, like, he doesn't have much time. He's trying to preemptively shoot when somebody's poking their head up out of cover. He misses the most important body shot, but well timed by Rise. That's a hard play to make there for Solurs. And it just comes down to either being super aggressive as you're trying to hit those shots there, or, you know, you hit the one that you need when those players run out of cover towards the hill, because you saw how quickly they capped it up there.
Now, Rushiez had the torque bow, am I correct? Or was it Icy who had the torque bow? It was Rushiez, I think.
Yeah, Rushiez had the bow.
So Rushiez had the bow, and he played that flawlessly. Did he get 3? I think he got 2. He got 2, and then ultimately brought it down to a 2v1. So well done from Rushiez, because that was a tough situation. But off the rip, INZEM's going to find DeToX, angle him out. He's gone. It's the second round in a row. He has fallen early. Solurs will pick up the snipe. Battle for torque bows still at a stare off between player 3 and 5, but player 3 or 5 backs up, excuse me. Rushiez picks up the torque. 3v4, head blown off. Nice shot. Torque bow down, and it's a 4v2, 4v1. Icy left up to his own devices. He is gone, and Hive lives to fight another round.
Ooh, good plays there from Hive, and what they did that round was they knew that how aggressive DeToX is playing every round, so INZEM just kind of cut in. He helped Solurs in that fight, and by picking up that first blood, from there they were able to get the angles that they need and put out the damage to close that one out. So great adjustment from Hive. That's what they needed, because honestly, DeToX was an anchor there at that snipe, and who was consistently getting on position and was forcing Hive down low into the fights in which Rise was expecting them to be in. So nice even playing field now, as Hive has found a counter there towards DeToX, at least for now, as Icy looking to make a play for his squad. Nothing really being open, but DeToX says, you guys will not hunt me down again, as he fought his way out of a difficult spot.
All right, INZEM's in now a really tough spot by himself. He's got to force the issue onto DeToX. Full red hits a nice shot. Not going to be enough. DeToX and Avexys, though, 1v2. Does Demise have time to pick up the torque? You don't want to sit there and maybe risk picking it up, especially with the long shot. So Demise is going to take his hand and just really go forward and try and take the fight in these 1v1s as Rise is kind of split up a little bit, but DeToX and Avexys will slowly converge together so they can get the trade at least and play that standard execution. Super curious to see how Demise works this and plays it out, because you have to assume where Avexys is at, that's where the overtime hill is going to be. There's nowhere he can go, Blaze.
You know, it's going to be hard. This hill is going to be right here in front of Avexys. As soon as Demise pokes up, Avexys going to get some free shots. All he needs is a body shot, really. As in this moment, Demise just needs to try to find a fight before the hill gets here. And, you know, DeToX is his angle as Avexys is going to be able to hit the body shot. Rise is playing this textbook. They're going to just cap this hill, close out this map, take the 2-0 lead. Demise, can he come clutch for his squad? Can he do the unthinkable and win this 1v2? A quick snipe from Avexys was all he needed there. Great damage from DeToX, but great team effort from Rise overall as they're going to close out map number 2, 6-2. They take a 2-0 lead in this series.
First time they played Tomb in a competitive setting, and Rise handles their business 6-2. They've got the 2-0 lead. Hive needs to step it up. Harbor, Escalation coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Rise is looking serious, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 lead over Hive. They've already beat E United, their arch nemesis, and I don't think Rise can be stopped, even though coming up next is Harbor Escalation. I talked about it. Hive beat them 5-0 in Pro League, but this isn't Pro League. This isn't a couple weeks ago. This is today, and today Rise is looking like the better team, Blaze.
Yeah, Rise is looking like the better team, folks. And so far, Rise's teamwork has been there. They've had individual players rise up in clutch moments when they need to. Everybody has kind of shared that torch. DeToX has been playing super consistent. Icy has been scary. Rushiez has been a nuisance, and Avexys has been as consistent as he can ever be. And so far, man, we've watched Rise since they've been on broadcast win 5 straight maps, and they're looking to put themselves up with a 6th on his board here and continue the same trend as Vanquish on the top side of brackets. They're trying to meet them here in the finals.
Yeah, definitely are. Rise wants it. They really, really do. For Hive, I don't know. I mean, Harbor Escalation, quite honestly, is their best map, in my opinion, to take in the series. I don't know. I mean, district control, you got to favor Rise there. Even Canals execution, you have to benefit Rise with how well they played that. DeToX is a phenomenal player for getting up close and personal. I mean, he was able to beat Powers from mid-bridge control. That speaks volumes about what DeToX can do. Remember their matchup when they played against EU? I mean, it came down to Canals. So this is literally an uphill battle from this point forward for Hive. And even this map, even though Hive has beat Rise 5-0 on Escalation Harbor, it's still not a guarantee. Hive has to win it, and they've got to win it now.
Yeah, folks, it's the mid-split playoffs here as we are in our semifinals with Hive versus Rise. Map number 3 on Harbor. Big initial fight coming through, and with kills being traded out, it is Rise with an extra man advantage as they're going to be looking to clean up this last kill on Winch. Ooh, can't get it through. The revive is there, and Hive will win this engagement here. Now they just need to spread out, get set up, but look at the heals, man. Solurs already, sorry, not Solurs, but Rushiez had already put in work down low. Getting his B hill cap, it gives his teammates enough time to come off the respawn and get set up to be able to contest and keep his lead.
Yeah, just enough time. It's not going to be enough to maintain Bravo, but it's enough time, as you said, for Rise to get off the rip and slowly but surely start working their way back for control. DeToX has the cross, so maybe there is an opportunity, and Rise is going to prioritize 2 strong plus the 1 on Winch to angle these guys out, take over B potentially. Hive is going to try and fight back, but then you got player 1 who's also going for the OE himself. That's DeToX. He bit off more than he can chew. But either way, the pressure seems to have paid off as Rise is taking the 2-1 back.
And Rushiez is playing his position very, very well, knowing when to get in there and get the decaps and back up, getting some of his teammates help. Because Rise says, hey, we do not need the Winch and Stern to keep this lead currently in this point. they're doing a good job just contesting with the two players they have on the side of the map. But they do need a player to get up top and have that height advantage. Big kill for Rushiez. And with that one coming through, he's going to get this immediate cap, and Rise is going to back up and try to slow this one down again. And so even though Hive has had the Stern and the Winch, it has proved to do nothing for them.
And nothing at all, which is quite disappointing. I mean, but that's because Rise has been prioritizing more men over towards Bravo as opposed to Hive. And even though they do have that winch and stern control, it's not enough to take down the constant pressure from Rise. Another Wolfpack opportunity, Wolfpack scenario. And even though Rise quickly loses B, they're now going in head-to-head against Hive to retake it. Now, it is going to be more scrappy than before, and that's because Hive will commit more manpower down low, and it seems to be paying off. Icy last alive, and he's gone, and Hive, deciding to send that additional man over there instead of just two seems to pay dividends. Hive now in control, but they're always in. Avexys trying to get A, but it's going to be short-lived. Rise still has the point lead, but they're not going to have the win condition. So at this point, Hive, you have to favor them.
Yeah, you have to. We'll see when this gets capped up. All right, Swarm team, but the B hill is getting decapped on the bottom portion of the map. Flips the win condition back over towards Rise. And they're just going to continue to hold their home hill, because when they pass that 125 marker, actually Swarm Squad got it back in their favor, and now Rise is frantically trying to run out. They need a decap in 5 seconds at B. Good flash, not going to connect. INZEM's weak, but Icy needs to make the play. He won't be able to get in time. Any hill needs to get decapped, and when it's all said and done, Hive gets it in the final 3 seconds of this round, Taylor. By the skin of their teeth there, because Rise had this little rat pack strategy down low when it came down towards the B hill, where they were all tucked in a corner putting out damage on a few players that was there, but they were close enough for the revives, and they were crouched in cover where they couldn't get shot from Stern, and it worked out for them for about 2 minutes. But in the grand scheme of things, man, they just needed 3 seconds on one of these hills somewhere throughout that long round.
Yeah, and it comes to show you how critical it was that Hive committed one additional man, because you said that Rat Pack scenario and it was working for 2 minutes, but it was that final time where Rise tried to retake control of B, as they've done in the past, but this time a new challenger approach, and Hive had 3 instead of 2. And you saw how that fight went. I think Icy was last alive, and then he ends up getting finished off, and it was just enough time for Hive to obviously take that lead by 3 points. So a narrow loss for Rise, but let's see how round 2 goes. DeToX hits a nice shot onto Demise. The other fight on the other side is going to be won by Rushiez. That was Solurs who loses his 1v. TJ's gone. INZEM last alive, and a quick round might be underway.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like, as you're going to have Rise on top of the home hill. You also even got that pinch coming in from Rushiez. And this is the type of start in which they wanted from that last round. And that's going to be a quick, 42-second round for Rise. That was great. Now, they had initially won the initial fight in round number 1, but remember, it was those 2 members of Hive that kind of clutched up there. And from then on the rest of round number 1, they had Stern and Winch control. But this time, Rise, they take their time, and they're able to clear out all the lanes, dot their I's, cross their T's, and cross out their opponents. Now we're going to get 2 Retro Lancers built up at the secondaries. We'll see if we get any center line shot grenades going down towards the next round, because you don't have to give up that free shot to your opponent, but both these squads, when it comes down to their strategy, the shot grenade could be a vital point of that, where they feel like they need that in the late game.
Yeah, if anybody places a center line in center shock, it's going to be Rise. That's just kind of what they like to do. They were the ones who started that meta, and that meta seems to obviously be carried over from multiple other teams. Well done from DeToX. Oh my lord, a flawless start. Solurs last alive on the other side. At this point, Solurs is going to go head into Rushiez. Rushiez backing off, but Solurs' job is going to be made that much more difficult because he has no teammates around him. Therefore, Rise can focus all their attention onto him, and they do. And another quick round potentially about to be finished with. All they need is B, and there it is. Rise might be faster than 41 seconds.
The Rise is slowly getting better round after round as they're adapting to what their opponent's throwing at you. What a surprise. Rise being one of the best adaptable teams that we have in the league. And it's no surprise to me. You consider how long Franchise was a part of the squad, their coach on Affinity, and when it comes down to the brains that both of them have, it's all about being able to find chinks in your opponent armor and gather intel on a round by round basis for you to be able to come up with a better strategy off your initial every single round. And so that is a part of Rise's culture. In the past, we've always kind of considered them more of a Lancer heavy team, and you know, not really the aggressors that's going to come out and fight you off the start, but that identity has changed after every single roster of this team. And I think they got a good mix of both play styles here, as we're starting to see.
In my opinion, it had to change, Blaze, especially with the meta as it current, or was the competitive rotation, execution, control, and escalation. Good read from DeToX. Yeah, TJ, you're not getting out of that spot, brother. Now Solurs once again, and I think Solurs has lost this 1v every time, but it's really not. I'm not throwing too much shade at him, and the reason why is because his teammates are consistently losing the stern fight, and if your teammate is losing that, and you have nobody out, and Solurs is left alive, he's going to get isolated. So that's the point that I'm bringing up. I don't want chat to be too critical on Solurs, but all of Hive right now is just being read like a book. And DeToX, for me, is the most influential factor because he has now 2 rounds in a row dominated the winch fight, Blaze.
Yeah, he has dominated the winch fight, and he has been playing it really well. And so I will say on the flip end, when you mentioned Solurs dying in that fight, Rushiez is playing that area great. Like he is keeping Solurs at bay. He is not allowing Solurs to get any free captures, and Rush is not scared to fight. And then depending on how this opening initial breaks down, I want to go down low and look at them and see how they engage. But we're going to start to see a little slower start from Hive picking up their utility. This is a straight up 2v2 fight that Hive needs to win, and those are some big shots from TJ to help come out with a double kill. And Hive will have control of the E hill, and now they're trying to see if they can respond with a quick trip cap domination of their own, but it just comes down to Rushiez, and he is not allowing Solurs to pass. Almost got a chunk on that second player, but by him getting that down, that slows down his trip cap domination and buys Rise some time off the respawn to get back into this engagement, as DeToX is trying to stay alive as long as he can. But it is going to be a domination that comes through from Hive. Great effort from Rushiez to kind of defend against that, but even better effort from TJ to hit the shots that he needed to put his squad in this position.
Yeah, DeToX and Icy hit some good shots up top, but it wasn't enough to get the finish. And Hive is going to capitalize on that. They really are. Like, you have to shut them down. You miss one shot, and even though Hive was losing 3-1, there's still a team that is going to punish you if you make mistakes. And I think any team at this level is going to punish you if you make those mistakes. So well done from Hive to win that round. Impressed with Rushiez to keep it alive as long as he did. I mean, just so deadly with those bolt talk shots. But retros and shocks now in play. And once again, we'll see how the second half is going to work out. Maybe Hive just needed a fresh start. Well, it seems as if they got that fresh start, and they are taking it to the bank. They win the swing round. It's 3-2. Still, though, Rise could be at map point, series point if they win this round, and we're not going to see Hive be as aggressive this time up top.
Yeah, not as aggressive as we've seen them in some of these past rounds, but it is going to be Rise able to get in and get out. You know, but now when it comes down to that capture, they wasn't able to pick that one up there, at least for now in the time being. As you see on your screen here, the members of Rise is trying to get down here towards the stern, get some more map here as Hive's capping up E. This one's about to slow down as Hive's going to have a man advantage with stern and winch locked in.
All right, man advantage so far. At least the round is still continuing. It's not going to end in a way of domination just yet, so we'll get to see a little bit of pushback. How good is the defensive Hive in this moment? DeToX down low gets the mark on Demise. Demise doesn't get away just barely, but he just barely by just a percentage. Shock is going to isolate INZEM. DeToX might be able to get the finish here, and he will. Answered back by Shock himself, and Icy is down, so a bit awkward for both rosters, but the Shock will dissipate in time for TJ to get the pick up onto INZEM. Icy won't be so lucky. He's finished off by Demise, and Hive has a good opportunity now to push Rise back from this stern fight.
Great effort here from Rise, but they wasn't able to get the down on Demise, and they wasn't able to get the kill that they needed up top. But DeToX once again chooses the right kind of move up and engage.
I mean, come on.
He's gonna help get 3 kills, but ultimately, even if you go back 30 seconds, when his timing of moving up from that player that got marked was perfect for him to even be in that position to help get his squad there. And so now they have to double back to their home hill to take out Solurs. They do that. But can they get the trip cap domination? There is a player down in the spawn that has to get revived, but the focus fire from Rise, so many different areas of the map So many different players contributing on this one focal point. The headshots are there. One more kill needed, but TJ holding the line. He needs to win a 1v2, and it is doable. It is not done.
Nice. I love casting with you, bro, because you're always trying to set up these moments, and then every time you get shut down.
Yeah, you know, I just get lost in the moment because I'm watching it as a fan with you guys as I'm trying to cast it. That's what I need you to come save me, Taylor, when I get lost in the sauce like that.
I know, because I wanted it to happen, because you did. You had that pause. You had the cinematic effects, bro, and then it was just TJ just didn't push. He just didn't go for it, and he just waited and then gets chunked. I mean, but ultimately Rise takes that round forward. You know, look, I'm trying to stay unbiased here. I really am. I really am trying to stay unbiased here. But
about what topic?
About what topic? Let's narrow it in. Narrow it down. I try to stay unbiased when I'm watching a team play, but I truthfully, after watching Rise play E United and watching them play against Hive now, no joke, this is the best I have seen Rise play in some time, and I'm genuinely excited for their performance in MSP. Like, I want to see how far they can go. Like, it's nothing against Hive. It's nothing against any of the other teams. And I'm not a big, fan of really anybody, right? I kind of support everyone, but Rise is playing so well that it literally makes me excited because of how well they're playing. It's almost like when VQ plays and how well they play.
And
I don't know how good they can continue to get.
And it should make you excited, right? Because when it comes down to Rise's past performances, it's been a long time since we saw this squad look as good as they have on tournament time, on day one here. So, so far so good. And as Colin and Jacob have gotten a chance to pretty much watch all of VQ's matches, we've been over here watching Rise. And so we've had our chances at casting two dominant teams as we see another dominant initial here from Rise to kick off the round. Solurs a 1 nade in hand, gonna toss it deep, but not deep enough to prevent the flame from coming through. And he's trying to slow down Rushiez, but he's getting crossed from so many angles. TJ has to run past. He can't do it. And Rise will rise up to the winners finals.
And they're going to be playing against VQ. Well done from Rise. I mean, flawless victory. Regency 300-238. Tomb 6-2. Mind you, first time Rise had played Tomb competitively. Same thing for Hive, but they win 6-2. And then to win Harbor 5-2. Again, guys, historical stats coming your way. Well, last time Rise and Hive played in Pro League, Hive beat Rise 5-0 on this map. And then Rise turns around in MSP when it matters most and beats them 5-2. And that just comes to show you how well Rise is doing. By the way, I don't necessarily know if it's an upset alert. Fire and Ice E United, twitch.tv/Bravo, currently playing map 3 right now. Fire and Ice leads the series 2-0 over E United. They're currently playing Escalation on Vascar. Fire and Ice is on map point, series point. E United's at 2. So at this point, we could be seeing E United exit very early on, and Fire and Ice could eliminate E United if they win one more round.
If it's probably any squad out there who has beat E United on Vascar the most times, it might be Fire and Ice. Okay, they give them the biggest run for their money on that map. Yeah. So even though E United has been perfect on Vascar as of late, them having to go up against F and I there in that matchup is scary. So good luck to them. E United, man, looking like a shells of themselves. Not playing as united as they need to this weekend, but a squad that is on your screen, and that's Rise, boys, okay? Because all throughout the entire day, against E United, now against Hive, they have shown nothing but class and dominance. I don't even think I've seen them hump anybody on the ground.
Oh, see, that's the thing, too. Actually, you're right. I mean, Blaze, we haven't seen any taunts or executions today.
It's been business for Rise.
It really has been. My goodness. Well, hey, man, but this is the thing, though. Everybody's taking this very seriously, as they should.